Alrighty, what is up, my fellow champions of the realm? It is your boy Apache, and today we're going to be getting into the term intermediate guide. The first thing we're going to be talking about is cool ways to use his abilities. Um, as you saw in the last video, we showed you his abilities, what they do, and all the stats behind them. Now we're going to be getting into a little bit more detail into some of those abilities, just a tiny bit. Then we're going to be talking about like how to play term, good maps, bad maps, counters, things of that nature. So first off, cool ways to use abilities: siphoning through wall. As you know, you can siphon your teammates, right? But not many players know that you can actually siphon them through walls, roofs, and floors, right? So an example would be right here. Turn the casties on, go up to the wall right here. Even though he's not in direct line of sight with my siphon, I can still siphon through the wall, right? So that is a cool way that you can use siphon. Now we're going to be talking about double Shatterfall. What this is when you Shatterfall and you either when you Shatterfall and get interrupted by a crowd control, it will not take the CD as long as you haven't hit the floor, right? So for example, if you Shatterfall onto Tyra Burn Monster, it won't take your cooldown. It'll keep it so you can jump onto the fire, walk out of it, and jump again. You can jump while you're about to get stunned by Grumpy Bomb. Do that again. Things of that nature. Yeah, it's like hard CCs, like a con grab, which interrupted it completely, and technically like double jump might not be might not be good in that situation. But let's say you get hooked by a Koa while you're jumping, you can jump again. Things like that. So yeah, so that's the way that you can do the double Shatterfall. Double swing after siphon, right? So as you can see, after I swing, there is a little like what is it called, a lockout time. But if I swing once and swing again, the second that swing starts moving, I can put my siphon up immediately, right? So those are 3 ways that you can use his abilities in a cool way. A little text, and yeah, now let's get into talking about how you should be playing term. Alrighty, so whether term is in the main or the off lane, he should be used in an aggressive manner. You want to be a space bully. Term loses a lot of value when you have him sit on point alone with nothing to contest, right? And this is due to the fact that unlike other tanks, he really doesn't have a way to really contribute to fights that are out of his axe range, right? He does have the Calamity Blast, but if nobody's looking at you and things like that, your off lane's basically going to be in a 4v5 in a sense. Not your off lane, but the other lanes, right? And if you're just sitting there, you have no way of putting damage to help that fight and things like that. So yeah, it makes it a lot harder on your team, right? With that being said, you want to be using you want to like force ways to contest, right? So you want to play in an aggro way. You don't want to go straight to point. You wanna walk into their backline. You wanna make yourself known, right? So you really want to be a big presence. You want to control space. You want to take space as Terminus. So yeah. Now let's talk a little bit about bad maps and good maps. As an off tank, term really doesn't have any bad maps. The reasoning for that is usually off lanes have their little lanes, so there's not really a lot of angles to pick at them from, right? And it's just a straight up matchup with you and your DPS and their off tank and their DPS, right? But when the bad maps really start coming in, is going to be maps that have a lot of angles and you're playing main tank. If you're sitting on the point and there's just a lot of ways that teams can get a little bit of damage into you over time, they're just going to chip you down, and eventually it's going to put you in a position to where it's like you're just too low. And if they can put a lot of focus on you without having to put focus into your team, it's going to be almost impossible to capture the objective, right? The Siphon is a really nice ability, but it only covers a cone in front of him. It doesn't cover all of his side as well as his back. Here is going to be an image that's going to show you some good maps and bad maps for him. You can take it with a grain of salt because depending on the comps, it could change, right? Or the way that you're playing. But generally speaking, when you're on the point, if there's a lot of angles, I'm going to consider it a bad map. If not, I'll consider it a good map. So here's the image right here. And there we go. So now let's talk about counters. A counter for term is going to be a champion that can reduce the value term brings. And since Siphon is his strongest ability, champions who can disrupt or bypass that are going to be considered hard counters. Champions like Makoa, Khan, Torvald would be considered hard counters. Soft counters are champs who can disrupt term at a smaller level. For example, Andrew can reversal his ult, as well as Atlas can set back term's ult until he gets some result online. Moji can eat term, which will prevent his reanimate as a whole. And Tiberius has ways that he can do damage through Terminus' Siphon or get bounces so that the damage hits him in the back, right? So those will be some soft counters. Alrighty, there will be some other counters, ultimate wise and things like that. But I'm not going to go too deep into it. Like, for example, one ult that could be used to counter out, the 2 ults would be Dombafear, which would be dropping his Siphon until he gets Resil up, as well as when Term reanimates, popping a Dredgel on the spot that he's reanimating We'll take away basically half of his HP. So, yeah. Now, with that all out of the way, right, we went through cool ways to use his abilities, how to play, how you should be looking to play, bad maps, good maps, and some counters. We're actually going to get into a gameplay, and we're going to try and talk the whole time and try to tell you what I'm thinking, what I'm doing, and show you examples of how you can use Term at a higher level. Alrighty, I will see you then. Alrighty, we were playing some Terminus on Frog Isle. Sadly, we are a solo tank, right? So we're going to have to play this a little bit different than we normally would. But yeah, we are playing into a ROM with double flank, Willow, and Furia, right? So there won't be many scenarios in which I can get value from jumping on top of people, right? It may, looking at my backline, I don't think I should be too worried about people getting dove. I feel like Canessa has really good escape. Same Damba should have a good amount of peel back there. Dredger of the game shouldn't be killable, and things of that nature. With that being said, though, I could get bullied off a point very easily, so I need to make sure that I am playing very safe and trying to reduce the amount of angles that can be taken upon me. With that being said, I'm going to be playing the off lane. Thinking about what talent I should. Maybe I'm going to go Crush here just to give another form of CC for the ROM. Because if I can stop ROM from going in, I can get a lot of value, right? So yeah.
Okay, I'll attack.
Alrighty.
Okay. 5, 4.
We are going to start off with the typical nimble 2.
2, 1. The battle has begun.
And we are going to just try to get value into the offlane with our team here. The round might be looking to go main, Boraz in the offlane, right? Right. He should be teleporting back. And it's on my second charge, which is not the best. Right. Ram is playing point here. I'm actually going to rotate. Stopping him from going in. There we go, we are getting value here. Bam, there we go. We can actually zone here. He gets TP back. And he dies for that. I'm actually going to play around window. Really can't do too much. Where the I want to make sure I'm getting dismount onto people. Actually, going to back up here. There we go. It's a good snipe. Am I able to get a pick there? Still looking for a stun on the Eevee. Force out the ice block. Looking at the wad as well. War's pretty deep. Looking for the kill on War. War's absolute. Oh, there's no way. If he dies. So there's no reason for me to really use my charges here because I do want to. Looking for when he goes back. Missed them all. For a stun. Should be kind of up me from my. We are down one of our most important DPSs here. I want to see if I can try to get my dredge out. We are going to swing on the roam. Not letting him get in here. So right there, I won't be able to block it, but I would be able to absorb the damage there, so that's what I was looking for. I don't really have the best poke, right? So I really don't need to get into their spawn. I think right here, I just want to kind of look to make sure that I am healing for my backline, so it's enabling my players, right? Right here, we're chilling. Forgot where Rom playing from. I'm playing main. We're getting a lot of free cap here. Wouldn't be shocked if Will looks for an ult. Right here, I'm just trying to. I'm staying healthy, some capacity. Right here, I could have jumped onto the Eevee, but I didn't want to waste that. I want to make sure that I am saving my mobility for the round dash. So I'm not really worried about the damage he's doing. Ram doesn't really do that much damage from far away. The only thing that I am a little worried about is the fact that he will be getting. I'm actually looking for a stun on the offlane here. Try to create an opportunity for my Andy. these extra damage in. Should be okay. First stun. There you go, we get a pick here.
That's too bad.
So as you can see, we are saving our Shatterfall for the ROM. Even though it isn't the most consistent form of CC, we are looking to make sure that he is not allowed to dash in for free. His best bet will be to the second I look away for him to dash in, but I'm doing my best to keep a steady eye on him to make sure that he is not getting value. We are going to finish our Nibble 3 here.
Capture point
I
spawning.
really don't know what else I should buy. I think Brazil would be pretty good, especially for the ROM ult. Fury Beam if they ever do hit, as well as the cripple from Aura and all this other stuff. So I think Brazil is probably the play here. We're going to be doing the same thing here. We can actually like be a little more reckless with our life because we do have ult, right? So we do have like a resource to play with. Rob is playing main this time, so I do want to meet the Rom. Rob isn't really doing much here, so I'm going to make sure I'm capping here. The second he tries to dash in, I will be able to stun it, so I'm not really worried. This guy doesn't have the best aim either. He is dashing, he's going through main. He gets stunned by our backline, so we're good. We'll actually get some free damage in here. Looking for the Fury in the backline. She's forced to pop ult here. Don't know if I can finish her, so I'm going to try to stay out of her LOS because she does do a lot of damage. We are down a good amount of people here. Whoever is ulting, so I want to make sure that I actually can't do something back there. I thought he would actually get through, but he doesn't. Actually not worried because I do have my ult. I do have a healer behind me. Actually gonna res here, my team should be back now. But I'm not too worried about. Could have saved those charges, that was a waste. Looking for a swing on her. Make sure that I have Siphon. So right here we should be looking to punish touch. We do have fear for point, but we're actually not going to use it when we should have. He shouldn't have got touch there. So looking down, even though I get stunned, I'm going to get my charges. And now when I do decide to use all of my Siphon, I will be able to have a way to get it back. And actually probably look for a stun here, but I don't think I will. Actually, I think I will now because the Willow's kind of low. Trying to force out resources. This is actually doing very well here. It's good for us. Right now, like I said, I really don't want to push too far up because they have a really diving comp. My goal here is just to make sure that my teammates stay alive. It doesn't do much. Get him staying healthy. The beam, let me try to get by this beam. Finish this kill here. No. Keep first on the off lane. One of the Furia. It should be game over.
Victory. Too bad.
It's gonna be a GG. So, as you can see there, we tried our best to use Siphon for our teammates. We understood the win condition in the sense of just sitting on point wouldn't have been enough. We had to make sure that we were denying the ROM free access into our backline. I had good faith that our DPS could handle their DPS. I really wasn't worried too much about hard peeling for them. Mostly the ROM didn't want his big tanky ass to get into the backline. With that being said, ults there. We just ulted whenever we had people up so that we can maintain control of the point and the map. And yeah, only really look for stuns onto the ROM unless it was a very clear pick that could have been gotten and would help my team get more value, right? So with that being said, that is a little term video as well as a example of ways to play term, right? And yeah, hopefully this helped you out and gave you a little bit of a perspective on Terminus.